Or any mod on the topic, any mod ideas that you have seen that you're interested in adding to the game itself? Whoops. So there's two. That question often comes in twofold for us. Usually people ask us like, do you see mods and like, oh, we should add that to the game. For the most part, we don't really see mods that are doing something out of what we have already thought of doing. You know, maybe mods do stuff like, or let me rephrase that. You know, maybe we'll think about like, oh, what if there's other power options or something? And then there's a mod that does, you know, refine power in a certain way. Like, obviously we didn't think of that specific way to do power, maybe, or like the recipe they made, maybe. But obviously we thought of the idea of doing changes to power, and then we see that and we're like, okay, cool. Same thing with like, you know, solar panels and stuff like that. The mods kind of confirmed that like, that doesn't work. But at the same time, we've also done solar power and wind power and tried that and prototyped it, and we didn't like it, so it didn't fit with the game. There's been a few cases where we've seen some like cosmetic mods that did some cool stuff that were like, oh, that's cool, that's neat. But I don't think we've ever like, there's never been a mod that we were like, let's take that and put it in the game, because we didn't like, we've been working on this game for so long. There's been people legitimately doing nothing but thinking about features of the game. You know, that's the full day for them. Game designers thinking, just sitting there thinking, what can we add to the game? But one cool thing with mods is that sometimes when we're working on something, we see how the mod did it, and we're like, oh, cool, that actually confirms our beliefs that like that was a good way to do it. Or the other way around, we also see mods that do something in a certain way, and we're like, glad we didn't do it that way. Not to say that like put shade on the modding community. If somebody wants to do a mod that we don't think fits the game, that's all for you, and we don't mind people doing that stuff. Like, I think it's really good. It's just not the way we sort of, when we're thinking of Satisfactory and we're thinking of the full picture of Satisfactory, because a lot of times when somebody really wants a specific thing to be solved with a mod, they're a certain person that wants to play the game in a certain way, and we have to like, you know, think about everybody who plays the game, not just that one person that's super into cosmetics, or that one person that's super into, you know, the factory efficiency thingy. So like it's a constant sort of, it's like a constant compromise that we have to take for all the player archetypes that we have identified. And some things are more important for us than others. You know, the fact that like we have certain survival aspects of the game, right? You're fighting aliens, but we don't think that's an important, like the most important thing with the game, right? We have there are certain aspects that play into that player archetype, but you know, it's not as high priority because we think the other ones are more important and stuff like that. So what was the point of all of that ramble? Yeah, like as to like certain mods, there's a certain mods that we've been wanting to do for a long time. I remember the most sad mod, not the sad, but like the circumstance around it was like before we released update 4, I think it was, when we added lights to the game. We were showcasing right before the release, we were showcasing like mods, and then they showcased like, here's a light mod, but you can use lights in the game. And then we're like, cool. And then in 2 hours, there's gonna be lights in the vanilla game. So like, that's a shame. But it's stuff like that, you know, where and it's kind of like, it's gonna happen. Like there's tons of people working on mods. Anyways, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting topic though. So hopefully any of that made sense. You've been rambling about motorcycles. That's true. That's true. I heard Jace say he'd love a tower defense mod. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of mods that I would like to see. I would love to see like a full-on cookie clicker mod or something like that. I think that was one of the first mod ideas that I had. And I think there's something similar to that. I think the farming mod has something like that ish, right? You can make like cupcakes and stuff like that. but it doesn't really add anything new to the game. You know, it's like a shift of recipes, or like, you know, it's a different balance of recipes, which could be, you know, reinventing the game a bit. I think there's what's the name of the mod? There's a mod that like takes every recipe out of the game, I think, and it's like you're playing a different subset of recipes and stuff like that. I think that's really cool.